Turn the lights on.
What up, what up, what up? Double M's, it's your boy Keys.
And it's your girl, Manzi.
And we back.
With another what? Video.
All right. Top of the discussion for today. We have a ordinance of sexual misconduct coming from Brett Kavanaugh, a guy that's been nominated for Supreme Court Justice. Mm-hmm. So he's a runner-up. But
you have Christine Blasey Ford
yes,
stating that he sexually assaulted her 35 years ago, and she's now reporting this.
Yeah. So apparently, I guess, when she was in college or something like that,
they had some interaction.
They had some type of
that wasn't consensual.
Yes. So from what I seen on the news, I guess they were out at some eatery place or a bar or something like that, and Mr. Kavanaugh got under the influence, alcohol, and started acting all belligerent and all crazy, grabs her, gropes her, another guy steps in, she's able to squeeze herself out, allegedly, what they're saying, and she runs into the public bathroom and I guess locks herself in there, and two authorities come and then they sort out the situation.
Now, there's so many different moving parts to this story because this happened 35 years ago, and it's like the Christine Ford lady is demanding an investigation by the FBI. Now, her and Kavanaugh were invited to, repeatedly it says, were invited to testify next week after delaying a planned Judiciary Committee vote that had been scheduled for Thursday. Kavanaugh accepted the committee's invitation, but Ford stayed, she didn't really say anything until Tuesday night. So she's insisting that before she testifies, say anything, she wants the FBI to do a full investigation. My thing is, what are they going to investigate after 35 years? Unless there's some witnesses that have come forward. The
reason why we're talking about it, because it also said, okay, how it was brought up, her and her husband were having some difficulties in their marriage. So some behavioral health, mental things got involved where she needed counseling, and through the counseling, this particular event arose, and from there, I guess her and her husband talked about it because it was affecting their sexual relationship and their marriage. So in order for her to, I guess, move on, she needed to deal with this head on. And I'm confused because me and Mandy was talking about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to let her fill in the gap from there.
I'm just a bit confused as a woman because if I'm getting married, I love this man, I want to marry this man.
Or if we was already married.
Yeah, and we're already being intimate. Unless it's a new marriage, which this doesn't sound like a new marriage. It sounds like we were having problems in the marriage, so we went to go get counseling, so we already were married. It just makes me feel like the sexual intimacy is now a problem because of something that happened 35 years ago. And no sexual abuse, no matter when it happened or how it happened, is acceptable, no matter how long ago it was. However, what I'm trying to understand is, how does making a public display of this information and the media and everybody now hounding you to testify about this, how does that not reopen up those wounds and almost re-traumatize you in a sense. Like, I don't see how it can help you. You're going through therapy for it. Now the whole world is in your business. That's got to be even more adding more stress to the situation.
Yeah, you just sealed the wound up, and now you're taking something and prying out the stitches
or
yourself.
like putting salt in the wound at this point. Because it's like, why would you, I wouldn't, me personally, everybody handles things differently. Me personally, I wouldn't want to relive that by having to go to court and testify. I wouldn't even find where the justice will be at in doing harm to this man's career or to his family, whatever, after 35 years. I feel like this was something that I would want to address right when it happened. Yeah. Right when it happened.
And taking care of that right then.
Kavanaugh would have never have had the career he has right now. He wouldn't even be a topic of discussion right now because I would have said something then. I just want to advocate for that. People need to speak up. You see something, say something. People need to say something. Whether you're afraid it's gonna do harm to your career, you need to say something because that's also selfish. Some people say, I didn't say anything because back then it was gonna mess up my career. It was gonna hinder me from getting somewhere. Well, then how does that make it even right? Yeah. You can look at it on so many different angles and so many different ways. I just feel like people really should say something and advocate for themselves and not be afraid to tell when somebody has done something harmful to you, such as sexually assaulting you or groping you, any of that stuff. It's not acceptable. No.
Yeah, it's that's a lot to me. With all of that going on, you've seen it occasionally with a couple of these other guys in the news, Bill Cosby, you've seen Russell Simmons, this stuff, and that stuff had been going on for years and no one said anything. And so to bring it up now, as me and Manny was saying before we were talking to you, it's almost to bring them down. But you were going on with your life to make success for yourself, but as soon as you make it to a certain top in your point, I'm not, you don't, well, this is why I'm hitting a plateau within my career. It's because of this.
Or why my marriage isn't working because of this. And there will be truth that you are having issues in your marriage, and you probably always had issues in your marriage, but probably, didn't really address them. Sometimes, there's an elephant in the room and it sits in the room for a long, long time in some people's marriage, and that could have been a problem for a long, long time in the marriage that she just never shared with her husband, thinking that, she can deal with it on her own. But they're also saying that since her coming out, it says her lawyers have asserted that her family was forced to relocate out of their home and that her email has been hacked and she's been impersonated online. So that's what I'm talking about, the safety of it all. Would that be a safe decision to come out like that? Because now you have people trying to do you harm, people trying to now destroy your career and destroy your credibility. And
not only that, your family. They're coming after your family to get to you.
So if this was an issue in my marriage, I would definitely sit down in private with the therapist like they did, talk about it with my husband and my therapist present. This would have stayed a private conversation because I need to first figure out how to work through this, how to rebuild my marriage. My marriage is the most important thing. Not making no media frenzy out of this situation. That's not important. What's important is me getting my marriage back on the right track. So if that's the purpose of me going to the therapy sessions, then I'm going to be focused on what I need to be doing there first. Because it just seemed mighty strange that this is coming out now, and then now your whole family's being affected by it. I feel like she should have thought about that. I know when people are going through things or people are, something triggers them and they feel like they got to say something right then and there. It's just in the moment that can happen too. But 35 years, you've had a long time to think about this, decide whether you want to report this, not report this. You had a long, long time to really gather your own personal thoughts when you said something to anybody.
Because we know pretty much you're an intelligent young lady.
Yeah.
But you
based on your resume.
Yeah, you really need to know where you operating from, and did you really think it through? Because from what I gather from it, it looks like $1. Somebody trying to make $1, but is it worth putting your family in jeopardy to go after somebody like that to make money off a situation that happened years in the past?
35 years ago.
Wow, man. Wow.
That's a long time. That's a long time. 35 years ago, that happened in 1983. I'm 36. That happened in 1983. So my thing is, and it's not funny, no sexual assault, like I said, no type of harm to women, men, period, is acceptable. Whether you be a woman, whether you be a man, it's not acceptable. However, when we report things that have happened to us, to people, and to authority figures, and now we're demanding the FBI do an investigation, I want to know, did she report this 35 years ago? Was she ignored? Because that changes everything too.
Yeah.
You know, that changes a lot of things too. There's a lot of the story that we probably don't know about, you know, and I just wonder, you know, did she sit down with her family and talk about this and the dangers and things that may happen? You know, kids that may be probably in school, you know, somebody trying to bother them because because their mom is coming out with these allegations. Yeah. I would be really concerned for my family's safety, but I would definitely have kept this in-house with my therapist and my husband so that we can work on the issues and find out where the root cause was. And if that is truly the root cause, then how do we go from here? What would you suggest as a therapist we do from here to get our marriage back on the right track? What kind of activities can we engage in order to try to develop a stronger intimacy between each other? Those are the things I would have been worried about, because you said you went to the therapist initially because you were having problems in your marriage and there was a lack of intimacy. And I know sometimes when we're so unhappy, we feel like somebody else has caused that pain and unhappiness. We want to see them hurt the way we're hurting at the moment. And so I just feel like there's a lot of different things and reasons it could be related to this story. May not be any malice. May just be simply because I'm traumatized and I want to address it. But then again, it can go either way.
It's a lot of missing puzzle pieces.
Yeah, a lot of misinformation.
And then again, you know, those particular pieces can't be said because they will be admissible in court.
Admissible, yeah, they would.
That's from watching all those
Law
and Order shows where admissible in court.
Yes. Mariska Hargitay, yes, her name. SVU.
But we're not taking sides.
Oh, absolutely not, because we don't even know the facts here. We just
wanted to.
We're just throwing out scenarios of what this could be related to, how this relates to her marriage, how how does bringing this information forth? We're just posing the question: how does bringing out an allegation like this after 35 years help you to rebuild the broken pieces in your marriage that you claim you went to the therapist initially to work on? And who suggested that you come out to the public about this at this point?
Yeah.
And has that made you feel any better? You know, because now you have an attorney now, all these different people involved, and now you got all these news outlets talking about the situation and yourself.
For something that was closed is now open to the world. And
like I said, I want to really know, did she try to, get this taken care of 35 years ago? Did she report this 35 years ago, and now is it just that, because he's in the position he's in, she can get people to actually listen to her? Or is this a newly fresh, first time reported allegation? Because now if you report this for 35 years and you're demanding the FBI investigate it like that, I mean, they really don't have a whole lot to go on unless you have some witnesses that you can lead them to actually get their stories. And even then, it's going to be your word against theirs and his against his word. People have to have facts and things like in situations like this. I feel they do, but I guess nowadays you really don't. Because people are getting convicted for stuff now.
Everything is not what you know; is what you can prove.
What you can prove, but then sometimes it's not what you can prove. Sometimes it's just as simple as, hey, you know, this is what he did to me, and a jury saying, yeah, I believe her. You know, sometimes it's that simple too. So it's so many different ways you can look at this. There's so many different outcomes that can come with this. So we just want to discuss it, and we were just like talking amongst ourselves, like, hey, if something like this happened in our marriage and this had happened to you, would you want to come out in the open and report that to everybody? I was like, no, I would want to do that. Not me personally.
It's open. It's an open forum.
Open discussion. We're not judging anybody, and we're not saying that the lady Christine Ford is wrong for reporting it, and we're not saying that Kavanaugh is innocent, because we don't know that either. Yeah. We're just saying, hey, in our marriage, what would be most important is rebuilding our marriage. Yeah. Not me going to, I would feel that going to the news and reporting this at that time when I feel like my marriage is breaking down, that would be too much for me. I would need to work on my marriage, and if I felt like it needed to be reported and I need to actually say something, and my husband is agreeing with me doing that and saying, hey, you know, it happened to you, if you feel like you need to go report this, then go ahead. Yeah. I will, but I will sit down with my family, have a discussion about it, and make sure that my kids are aware that, hey, you know, there may be some people, be alert of when you go, you know, I'm going to
make sure the family is going to be well kept before anything goes out. If any relocating has to be done, we're going to do it then. Whatever my kids need to protect themselves from going out, this, that, and the other, we're going to do that. Or if I need to homeschool them, so in order for them not to get hurt, that's what I'm gonna have to do. But it won't be no harm in done, and you can trust that.
I'm just saying she should have sat down with her family and really had a discussion.
All I's need to be dotted, all T's need to be crossed. It should have been thought through all the way, because you can't go rob a bank and then come back to the house and then think, well, next day, you know, ain't nobody coming to look for you.
Yeah, they come.
The police looking for me. They looking. This ain't set it off. This real life.
I'm pretty sure as soon as the allegations hit, there was news reporters on her lawn. I mean, come on, that's a lot. It's a lot, and especially if you got kids, that's a lot to take in. Like, what's going on? Our lives are completely transitioned to a whole nother, situation.
And as adults, you're not telling the kid, that wasn't said to the kids. Now, if the kids are teenagers, they got blindsided. Now they feel some type of way.
Possibly.
They locking themselves in the room, or they running away, or they going to stay with Portia and Nina down the road. You don't know. You don't know where they at. You know, your son, he running off with a younger girl. I don't want no parts of this. I'm good on my own. But if you got younger kids, imagine how adults are treating them. And, you know, it's not, neither is it any other kid's fault, but how the kids are being treated by an adult. And they have nothing to do with that.
Right. Yeah. So that could be a very, very scary situation. It could be a very scary situation, and I just feel like there should have been more. It should have been more thought taken into consideration when reporting these allegations, and how it affects your family. As a married woman, if I knew that I was having, like I said, trouble in my marriage with intimacy, because I had this trauma that I never ever spoke of. I mean, I'm trying to understand what type of when did the intimacy issue start? Because for 35 years, this happened 35 years ago. When did these problems start in the marriage? Because at some point you had to be intimate. You had to love each other. You had to develop a relationship that grew into him wanting to marry you. And I'm just saying, if a man ain't really getting none, I don't see him really trying to like wife you up like that either. I just don't. I don't. Let's be real. You wiping them up like that, they ain't giving you no butt.
No, but there's some out there that willing to wait around, and then
Yeah, but how long ago did
yeah, they probably communicated, and they did probably have some type of relations within that, but it still was kind of, it was some timid, edgy kind of areas there.
But how do you explain that over the course of a marriage? You would think these allegations would have been, she would have discussed them with her husband at least. I mean, she eventually did because it landed them in therapy.
Yeah.
So it was definitely discussed.
Well, we know
the therapist and him present.
Some people are better with communicating and discussions and handling things a certain type of way than others. So
true too, but you would think the story just seems I don't know.
It's not well put together, but then again, it could be like that because, as we said before, they could be keeping things.
Yeah, keeping some of the facts out right now.
Yeah, so we're not going to hold y'all up. Comment down below. Let us know what you think about that situation. If you don't know about the situation, Google it, take a read on it, and comment down below.
Yeah, it is the Kavanaugh accuser Christine Blasey Ford demands full investigation by FBI before testifying in a letter from her lawyer. So she's refusing to testify about the allegations that she made until the FBI does a full investigation first. And I just wonder, why does the FBI need to do an investigation first if you're trying to speak your truth and tell the facts?
Yeah.
It seems like you want to know what the FBI know before you go to talk. I don't know. It just seemed a lot of suspects on a lot of suspect stuff on this whole situation. But like you said, we're not gonna hold you guys. We just want to get your thoughts on what you think of the story.
Please share with us what's your thoughts on that, all the way around, both sides, her side, his side. Help us out.
And how do you think sexual assault, somebody having a history of sexual assault in their relationship, affects the current relationship? Because that can cause marital problems. It can cause people not to be together or cause people to have a relationship strain. So those are some of the things you have to consider too. And I just thought that, I was just thinking personally, like, wow, she has kids and a husband and they're having problems. I would be afraid to bring all that extra drama into the situation. We're already having problems connecting. Now we got all of these people in the business. All this stuff is all about now Kavanaugh. Now it ain't even about me. We done brought a whole other man in the situation. Now it's about him. Because he's the big runner-up for Supreme Court Justice. So it's like, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
All right, Double M's. Y'all know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. We want your comments down below. Both sides, Cabinet and Christine. Let us know. Don't forget, hit that notification bell. And we'll see you on the next go around.
And don't forget to check out the Epic Empire. Their links will be in the description box below.
Yeah.
Good night.